Hello language learners! Today I'm going to talk about how to learn Spanish for free and fast. In this video in particular, I talked about my journey to learning Spanish, becoming fluent in Spanish, and there were a lot of options in that video that were not free, not even close. Like immersion, for example, was 0% free. Things like SpeechLing, which is not free. Very, very helpful, not to people with zero budget. There are definitely ways to learn Spanish for free if you know what resources are available for free, and there are a ton. Now, a lot of these resources that I'm about to talk about, some of them are completely free, totally 100% free. Some of them only have a certain amount available for free, but I think they're enough to put on the list. I'm not including resources in this video that you only get like 2 lessons for free and the rest is paid. As always, I'm going to separate all these resources by the skills that they improve, because that is so important when you're being intentional about learning a language. Keep in mind that these categories are kind of fluid. So just because one language learning resource focuses specifically on reading or writing doesn't mean you can't also use it to practice listening or speaking. These ways to use language, these language learning skills, they feed each other. So don't narrow yourself down necessarily to 1 or 2 skills. Without further ado, let's talk about this list of how many, I don't even know how many.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,
23 ways to learn Spanish for free, categorized by the language learning skills that they primarily work. First, I'm going to start off with vocab. Vocab is the easiest skill to practice with free language learning resources. The very first and most common language learning resource that you can use specifically for vocab and a little bit of grammar is Duolingo. Everybody knows and loves Duolingo. Duolingo is 100% free, will always be free. Every single little thing that you can find on Duolingo is free. If you have 0% experience in a language or close to 0, Duolingo is a great way to learn Spanish for free. You'll learn a ton of vocab, you'll learn some basic and some intermediate grammatical concepts. It's a great way to get your initial foothold into Spanish. Another language learning resource that you can use to learn vocab is Drops. Drops is a paid resource, but with Drops, you can access 5 minutes of practice for free every single day. So if that's all that you want to use, Drops is great. Oh, and by the way, I didn't mention this before, but links to reviews on all of these resources that I'm going to be talking about below in the description box if you're interested in learning more about them. So if you hear something that you like, scroll down, look through my description box, see what more information I have available. Next on the list of free ways to get vocab in Spanish is Mondly. I use Mondly every single day, not for Spanish because Mondly is better for beginner vocab, but Mondly does offer a significant amount of language practice for free. Not only do you get daily, weekly, and monthly quizzes to help keep you accountable for your Spanish, which is awesome. I love easy accountability like that. But on top of that, 6 conversations, 1 vocab section, and 1 chatbot conversation. Now, if that doesn't make any sense, again, link below in the description. I have a whole review on Mondly so you can see what I'm talking about. Next on the list of free ways to learn Spanish, Memrise. Memrise is great for vocab. Memrise is also a paid service, but you get a ton for free. Basically, you can create your own flashcards. You can use somebody else's flashcards if you can find them, all for free. A lot of people use Memrise to study their vocab, again, using Memrise's flashcard option. On the topic of free flashcards, you also have Anki. I love Anki. It's one of my favorite language learning resources of all time. Great for vocab, also conjugations, basically anything that you can put into an Anki deck, or you can find it in somebody else's Anki deck. Anki will always be totally free. Just check it out. Last on the list of free ways to get vocab in Spanish are 3 extensions. Those extensions are StudyLib, Fluent Card Dictionary, and Vocab Tracker. Great ways to find Spanish words online and translate them. So that wraps up the vocab section of free Spanish resources. Next on the list is grammar. Grammar is one of those things that, there are a ton of websites out there that'll help you, you can look up grammatical concepts and whatnot, but I'm going to talk about resources that are available for you to practice grammar in an interesting, engaging way. Grammar is a lot more intensive, a lot more difficult. It's one of those language skills that a lot of language learners avoid. Unfortunately, there are only 2 resources that provide some free grammar practice. The first one is Quizzic. I love Quizzic to death. It's a little bit pricey, it's like 30 bucks a month. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but again, link below in the description. But with Quizzic, you do get 10 free quizzes per month, which is a great way to test your understanding of different grammatical concepts. If you're struggling with something, if you use one of your free quizzes and you don't do so well, you can use Quizzic's grammatical explanations, get some direction as to what you need to work on in case you don't already have that direction. The second free resource for working on your grammar is Fluency. Now, Fluency offers you 15 lessons for free. While it is primarily grammar, those first 15 lessons also include listening comprehension and writing, so it's a pretty well-rounded 15 lessons, pretty nice for free. Unfortunately, besides Googling these concepts for yourself and trying to figure it out by yourself without using fancy fun resources, that's all that's available for free because grammar is tough and language learning businesses understand that and know that it's hard and they deserve to get paid for that information. Next on the list is reading and writing. Reading and writing go hand in hand pretty much, so we're gonna smoosh these together. The first free option to work on your reading and writing in Spanish is Link. Link, of course, does have paid options, but you can get a lot for free. You have access to all of the Spanish lessons. You do get a few links, and links are basically when you find a new word and you click it and you translate it and you put it into a vocab list to study later. That's a link. It's not completely necessary if you don't have the money to pay for it, which is fine. You can always just, find those words, stick them in your own flashcard set, whatever you use to work on your vocab. It's a little less convenient, but it doesn't, you really don't need to pay for it. So you have access to all of the lessons, all the reading practice, all that jazz. It's just a little bit more inconvenient. Next on the list of reading and writing practice for free is Closemaster. Now, if you don't know what close is, it's basically you have a phrase, you have a sentence, statement, whatever, and you have a fill in the blank, and you need to put in a word to fill in the blank to make the statement whole. That's a close. Closemaster is basically you have a bunch of phrases and sentences and you have to figure out how to fill in the blank, which means Closemaster is not for beginners. If you are a total beginner, go somewhere else first. Link is beginner friendly, Closemaster is not. But for free, you do have intermediate fill in blanks and reading and listening practice. For a few bucks a month, you do get a lot more content, but it's really not all that necessary. Next on the list is Bilingual. I have an entire video on Bilingual here that you can watch to go through the app, see what it's all about. But Bilingual does offer some audiobooks for free forever. You won't have access to all the audiobooks, you won't have access to everything. But for free, you do have a pretty good library of audiobooks, which means Bilingual is good for not only reading, but also listening. Next is ReadLang, which is one of my favorite resources to share with you. ReadLang is completely free. You can take whatever content you find in Spanish on the web and you can copy it, stick it in ReadLang, and you click a word and ReadLang will translate it for you. It's really handy, honestly. It's not very pretty, I'll tell you that right now, but you can stick your own content in there. You can look at what other people have published and use that content to practice your own Spanish reading. On top of that, ReadLang also does a pretty decent job at telling you what level a piece of content is, A1, B2, C1, whatever it is. It'll tell you, so you're not just going in blind as, an A1 reader and looking at C2 and being like, what is going on? The next 4 resources, I don't have personal experience currently at the time of this video, but they are completely free ways to work on your writing. First resource is called Lingo Correct. If you ever used Lang 8, it seems to be really similar to that. Lang 8 hasn't been active and accepting new accounts for years now. You can still use Lang 8, but I'm not really going to go too far into it just because it's not available for new accounts. Lingo Correct, basically you post your writing sample and somebody else, a native Spanish speaker, corrects it for you. And you do it likewise for people who are trying to learn English. Again, it's the same concept of Lang 8 if you're familiar with that, but Lingo Correct is currently operational and accepting new accounts and growing. Similar to that is LingoHackers, and there's an entire subreddit, if you guys are on Reddit, it's called WriteStreakES. Basically, you write in it every day, and it helps you keep track of staying consistent with your writing. It's not so much about being corrected for your writing as much as it is getting your practice in, staying consistent and accountable. You keep track of how many days in a row you've been writing. If you fall off the track, that's totally fine. You still have that acknowledgement of you made it however many days with writing. Finally, we have learning with text. I don't remember what the acronym. The acronym is LWT. You'll see LWT a lot more than you'll see it spelled out. LWT is also another resource that's completely free forever. It's mostly for reading, some listening. You find content, you find a book that you want to learn to translate, learn to read in Spanish, stick it in there. Hopefully you find an audiobook, and it basically brings all of the Spanish and the English together so that you can use the English translation to understand a book that you're reading, an article that you're reading, whatever it is that you want to stick in there. Just like ReadLang, it's not the prettiest, not the fanciest. Finally, we have listening and speaking. These are the last 5 free resources that I have on my list. First, we have Mango Languages. I personally hate Mango Languages. If you read my review of it, I tell you exactly why I hate it. I recognize that it can be helpful for a different kind of language learner that I am not, but I really hate it. Mango Languages offers you help with basic conversations, very beginner level stuff. It's free if you are connected to an institution that has a partnership with it. Mango Languages, the one great thing about Mango Languages is it partners with a lot of institutions like universities, public libraries, stuff like that. If you have a library card, find out if your public library has a partnership with Mango Languages, and then you have access to all of Mango Languages for free. Read my blog post on it, linked below, and I'll explain to you why. I feel like I have to name Mango Languages. I don't like it, but if it's what floats your boat, I'm not going to say don't use it. The last 4 language learning resources for listening and speaking for free practice, I do love. I think they are great options for you. First one is HelloTalk. HelloTalk is totally free, 100%. You use HelloTalk to connect with people who are native to the country that you're trying to speak the language of. You can find natives from the particular country that you're looking for, which is really important for Spanish in particular because, different countries have different accents, different words, stuff like that. You can look specifically for native speakers of Castilian Spanish, for example. You can text with them, you can call them, you can have a video chat. HelloTalk makes it very, very easy for you to correct somebody in the middle of a conversation in a non-abrasive, rude way. HelloTalk is really, really helpful for getting in that speaking practice and written practice, reading practice, all that stuff. It's a great immersion tool that's for free. Next we have a Chrome extension, language learning with Netflix and language learning with YouTube. I talk about both of these Chrome extensions in this video, much more in depth. Basically, they are 2 really great Chrome extensions for if you're watching YouTube or Netflix. It brings up the transcript of what you're watching in Spanish. You can translate the transcripts. As you go. You can connect your favorite dictionary to it, your favorite online dictionary to it, especially if you want an entertaining way to pick up Spanish. Netflix has a ton of Spanish content, as does YouTube. But language learning with Netflix and language learning with YouTube are completely free Chrome extensions. On that subject, there's also lyrics training. It gives you access to a bunch of music videos in the language that you're learning, so in Spanish. There's a couple options. One of the options is you have the lyrics of the song and you fill in the blank with multiple choice. It really primes your ear for listening. Music is tough because music takes a lot of liberties when it comes to pronunciation. You can also just do straight up karaoke to practice your pronunciation and your speaking. Just, listen to the music, watch the lyrics go by and sing along. Lyrics training is generally a paid app. However, you do get 3 free songs every 30 minutes. Which I know what you're thinking, that's kind of a weird way to dictate free content, but when you think about it, it's not a bad deal. The last final resource that I have for you to learn Spanish for free is SpeechLing. SpeechLing works on your speech, your speaking. It's generally a paid app again, however, you do get 35 free recordings every month. So basically, you can practice speaking for a couple of minutes every single day. SpeechLing in particular works on pronunciation, so you'll get a professional native speaker who will listen to your recording of a phrase, answer to a question, stuff like that, and they will correct your pronunciation, let you know what you can improve on, and it's a great way to work on your fluency as well as pronunciation, because if you're, responding to describe an image, it's really working your brain on getting the language out. So there you have it. There are however many, a lot of free language learning resources for Spanish that you can use to improve your Spanish in every way: speaking, reading, writing, vocab, grammar, all of it. If you want to dive into any of these options that I've talked about, check out the links below in the description box. If you're broke, you can learn Spanish. There are so many options out there. There's no reason why you should feel like you can't learn it just because you can't afford it. Having a budget does give you more opportunity to use some high quality resources, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn it. That's all I have for you today. I will see you every single Monday on my blog at crashculture.com, and every single Wednesday, and now every single Sunday. I'm upping my YouTube videos to twice a week because you guys really love them, and I have so much to share with you guys. You have no idea. 2 days a week, every Wednesday and Sunday, right here on YouTube. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week.